Okey, doktor. Doktor dah terror.
Kenapa korang semua senyap tak nak pakai mikrofon?
Nak cakap apa?
Okey, tak apa. Mulut penuh makanan dah tu. Okay, start. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good afternoon everybody.
Waalaikumsalam, doktor.
Okay, yesterday we stopped at slide 21. Okay. Ada baru masuk. Wait.
Dah naikkan.
Okay, Assalamualaikum guys, sorry. Ada persoalan sikit tadi. Okay, ada lagi seorang belum masuk. Okay, kita start Okay, acute toxicity testing, you have learned yesterday about various type of toxicity testing. Okay, we start with acute toxicity testing. Actually, the main that you need to know is acute toxicity testing lah. Okay, the rest is depending on the time. Okay, before this I show you the acute toxicity testing is carried out for 14 days, right? Okay, this one 14 days, 28 and so on. Okay, so by knowing the what is acute toxicity testing, you will know already what is subchronic, what is subacute. That depends on the period of time used to assess the test. Okay, so acute oral toxicity is, there are 4 main tests that can be carried out. Okay, the most popular one is 420, 423 and 425. Okay, so this is the first one was developed in 1981 was OECD 401. Yep. Okay, OECD is Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. Okay, these are the organization that monitor the. Okay, last person to enter. Thank you. The first one was OECD 401. Okay, guideline acute toxicity, oral toxicity. Okay, whereby it use only 5 animals per sex, meaning to say you can choose only male or female, not mix them per dose per group. Let's say you have three dose, then you have to use 5 animals, same sex, per dose. Okay, so 3 dose are used normally. Okay, so they are choosing from citing study. So what is citing study? I will explain to you after this. Or from historical data. Okay, so meaning to say when you want to do acute toxicity study, there are 2 ways of doing the test depending on the compound or substance. Whether it is based on historical data, meaning to say there is report that say this compound A or substance A can cause have been causing toxicity to chicken, for example. Okay, causing death to chicken due to exposure, accidental exposure, for example, at 300 milligram per kilogram. That is what we mean by historical data. Okay, so when you know the dose that cause toxicity to other animals, then you can design your experiment to use the dose that is below the higher. Sorry to say, that you can design your experiment based on that dose. Let's say 300 mg per kg cause death to chicken. Then you can assume that 300 might also cause death to, for example, rats and mice. Okay, so from there, what you can do is you use 150, let's say half of it, as the highest dose for you to test in the mice or rats. Okay, clear or not? Is it okay? And then what is citing study? Citing study is used when the compound have never been reported to cause toxicity. Meaning, for example, the compound have never been leaked into the environment, okay, or have never been used by somebody accidentally and cause toxicity. So when you don't have historical data from that compound, you have to do citing study. You have to look. Citing means you look at the animal when you give that compound. Okay. Faham tak?
Faham.
Boleh faham? Can you understand?
Understand.
Faham, doktor, faham.
Faham. Doktor.
Cepat sikit respon, nak proceed ni. Takut kau, I'm afraid if you did not respond as fast as possible, we might have a class for more than half an hour. So please answer my question so that I know that you understand what I'm trying to say. Okay, thank you. Okay, what is citing studies? Citing study, the purpose is to allow selection of the appropriate starting concentration. So you don't know what is the dose to be used, okay, for your toxicity study. Before you can start your experiment, your acute toxicity study, you need to do the citing study. So what you need to do is you select a dose normally based on the OECD. They have given us a guide. For example, if you look at the next two slide, you can see there are 5, 50, 300, 2000. This is the dose that you can use for your citing study. And in your citing study, you only administer it to single animal. Okay, only one animal. If you look at OECD 401, you will use 5, right? So in citing study, before you start, because you don't know which dose can kill the animal or cause toxic effect to the animal, so you want to start to see you want to start your OECD study. So you do the citing study using only one animal and testing it at this 550, 300 or 2000 dose. Normally we start at 5. Okay. Normally if you start at 5 for pure compound, okay, if you have a pure compound like a drug that have been synthesized, new drug that have been synthesized, so you want to know the toxicity study, you use very small amount because for pure compound, if above 300 or if above 600, for example, like paracetamol, one tablet that you take is 600 mg per kg, right? So maybe if at 600 mg per kg, if the pure compound, the pure drug did not cause toxic effect, then it can be consumed to be safe for use in human. Okay. Okay. Oh, However, if, for example, you have an extract of plants, okay, you are given extract of plants to test for toxicity, then you might use higher dose. Okay, you can use up to 2000. Sometimes you can use 5000 mg per kg to test on the single animal and see whether the animal die or the animal show any sign of toxicity. It start to have less movement. Okay, you can see stool come out with blood, or you can see diarrhea, whatever sign of abnormality on the behavior of the animal itself. So if you know there is a sign of abnormality or sign of toxicity at that dose, you can ignore the dose above that, for example. Okay, if we so you do this experiments, I think is for 4 hours. So you give the dose, let's say 5, or you start with 5, you give 5 mg per kg to one mice, one rat, you leave it for 4 hours and observe it for 4 hours. If there is nothing happen to the animal, you use the next dose is 50 to one animal also. See for 4 hours. If nothing happen, you use 300. If 300 also nothing happen, then you use 2000. If at 2000 nothing happen to the animal, then you can consider the compound as having a non-toxic effect, a safe compound for consumption. Okay, but if let's say at 300 you can see the animal have blood, a stool with blood, okay, or you can see death, for example, then uh, let's say you saw at 300 causing death or sign of toxicity, then you should not proceed with 2000. You should uh, reduce, okay, between 50 to 300. Or you can also assume that the LD50 is between 50 to 200, 300, sorry. Okay, the study is completed when a decision on the starting concentration for the main study can be based. So if you know at 300 it causes sign of toxicity, especially death, then only you can design your acute toxicity study with the 300 as your main, the highest dose to be used. Okay. So before we proceed, I would want to tell you first, this test, the 4 tests, 401, 420, 423, and 425, they have different endpoint. Okay, the endpoint mean what do you want to observe? What do you want to achieve with this test? Okay, for example, okay, I show you, this is a summarize of what each test represent. Okay, so if you see from the slide 44, citing study is used in 420 only. Okay, only in OECD 420. Okay, so the other 401, 423, 425, you don't have to do the citing study. Okay, so the dose used also is different between each test. So 401 is between 2 to 5,000, 420 is 5 to 5,000, same for 423, while 425, you just look at the first animal dose less than estimated LD50 outcome by factor 3.2. So later I will explain this. What I'm trying to say is that this, you look at estimation of endpoint. Okay. No, drug effect. Sorry, drug effect. You look at drug effect. What you are trying to see, okay, is the dose that causing the high mortality in 401, or dose that causing evident toxicity, just evidence of toxicity, not death, not mortality. Okay, so for 420, only evidence of toxicity. If you know the dose that cause toxicity, then you should not proceed above that dose. If you use OECD 420, if you use OECD 401 or 423, you need to do your study until you get a dose that cause mortality. Okay, both mortality. This one 4 to 5 stop if no reversal occur by reaching selected upper limit. I will explain this later. Okay, so the number of animals for each group, you can see there are different requirements. That's why you have 4 different type of OECD. So this is a summarized part. Okay, if you look at the slide 24, you can see for the sighting study, we use only one animal. Okay, so normally you start at 5 mg per kg. Okay, if you start with 5 mg per kg, if you give the animal this dose 5 mg per kg, then you look at the outcome, the endpoint. If A is what? If you look at below, there is A is death, B is evidence of toxicity, and C is no toxicity. Okay, if at 5 mg the animal, the drug or substance cause death, then it is classified as category 1 highly toxic drug. Okay, so if there is only evidence of toxicity, blood stool, slow movement, for example, then you can use this dose as the starting dose, 5. Okay, if there is no toxicity, then you increase the dose to 50, and so on. If 50 no toxicity, you increase to 200, and if no toxicity, if you increase to 200. If there is no more toxicity, you stop. Or you also can start with 50 mg per kg. If there is toxicity at this 50 mg per kg, you did not proceed with 300 and 2000, but you reduce the dose to 5. If 5 cause no toxicity, then the dose that you will use in your OECD study is between 5 to 50. Okay. If there is sign of toxicity, also you can use 5 to 50. But if there is death also at 5, then you should stop the experiment. No need to do any kind of study, anti-cancer study, anti-inflammatory study. You should not do that kind of test anymore on this compound because it is highly toxic. Okay. Can you understand? Can you get what I'm trying to say?
Yes, doctor. Yes, doctor.
Yes, we understand, doktor.
Okay ah?
Faham,
Ha?
faham.
Tak, sebab apa? Asma, buka mikrofon, tanya. Tanya je. Please ask question if you don't understand.
Doktor, apa ulang balik yang
Which part
gambar banyak anak panah ni?
that you don't understand?
Muka surat 24 ni.
Or you want to proceed first until 1 hour and then you ask question?
Boleh. Kan doktor, kan?
Please ask question. If tak ada, proceed. Siapa yang tak faham? Kat mana tak faham? Tell me, slide number berapa? Start from which slide? Okay, if you don't want to ask now, we proceed first. This is just an example of sign of acute toxicity. So if you observe this kind of activity in your mice or rats, then you should stop the experiment, meaning stop the experiment using the dose above the dose that caused this effect. Okay. So as I told you just now, there is also you can, from the sighting study, you can also use a fixed dose of 5,000 mg per kg. Just now I told you until 2,000, right? So you use upper dose level of 5,000 mg per kg for essentially non-toxic substance. Okay, non-toxic. Normally this is for extract, plant extract. Okay, for plant extract, for my research, for example, I'm using this because I'm trying to avoid using a lot of animal. Okay, for my study. So I just use 5,000 mg per kg of my extract. I give to 6 animal. Then I see if there is nothing happen to the animal, no sign of toxicity, no sign of mortality, then I consider that the dose below that is safe for consumption. Okay. So this is the same thing. If you use 5,000 mg per kg, if you give to the animal, okay, you see 2 death. If you see more than 2 death, what happened? You should reduce the dose from 5,000 to 2,000. Okay, and so on. If still there is more than 2 deaths at 2,000, you reduce the dose until 5. If 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 still at 5 also you see the same more than 2 deaths, then you stop the experiment. Okay. If there is evidence of toxicity or less than 1 death, then you can unclassify the substance being unclassified according to GHS. Okay. So if there is no toxicity, if there is no toxicity, substance also can be classified according to GHS system.
Doctor, what is it mean by
GHS is
substance
globally
being
harmonized system. Lupa pula. Globally harmonized system. So, okay, what I have explained to you, this LD50 have was actually suspended. No more. You cannot do LD50 anymore. Okay, requirement by the OECD organization because you want to prevent you from torturing the animal. So that's why we have these you have this 420, 423, and 425 was developed. Okay. So OECD 420 is a fixed dose procedure. It is called fixed dose procedure. OECD 423 is acute toxic class method. ATC or 425 is called up and down procedure. So you should know this if you are doing on animal study, and depending on your supervisor, you depend on your supervisor which one you want to use for your experiment. just use one only if you're doing study on animal. Okay, so this alternative test was developed for improvement in animal welfare. Okay, other than the 3 alternative animal tests, there is also scientists have also developed an in vitro cytotoxicity test. I think you are aware of this. You have, I don't know, maybe you have been exposed to this. Prof. Daud normally use this kind of test to study anti-inflammatory. Dr. Ruslida also anti-inflammatory. Dr. Abdah and Dr. Sharifah is using in vitro cytotoxicity to study anti-cancer. Okay, there are various type of activity can be studied using in vitro cytotoxicity. Okay. But in the end, if you do this in vitro, last in the end, if you do your master or your PhD, you need to go back to animal also. Okay, because there have been reports. Okay, for example, curcumin. Tahu curcumin tahu? Anybody know what is curcumin?
Tak tahu, doktor.
Tak
Ubat ke
tahu.
doktor?
Okay, curcumin, for
Dia dari
example,
turmeric ke doktor?
have been proven by in vitro. It is a compound isolated from kunyit. What they call kunyit in bahasa Inggeris Lemak.
Turmeric.
It's cumin, doktor.
Tanya sekarang ni tak ingat dah ni.
Just
What is
buang.
kunyit?
It's cumin.
Turmeric. Okay. It is isolated from this turmeric. Curcumin have been found to have a very good anti-cancer activity when tested in vitro using cell culture, but when it is injected into animal that have the same cancer, it did not produce any anti-cancer activity or a good remarkable anti-cancer activity. So maybe because what? Because the body, we have liver, the metabolic, the ADME process, okay, absorption, distribution, metabolism, excretion process. Whereas in the cell in vitro model, you just expose the compound to the cell. Okay, there is no metabolism occurs, so you get good result. But when in reality, in closed system, in live animal, you sometimes you did not get the same good effect. Nak baca apa ni? Dah faham dah Asma? Okay. Ling Leong Fang, you ask question for who? He can't hear my voice. You asking me or what?
Yeah.
Link asking you, doktor.
Wait.
Korang bersembang ni.
For the slide 27, what does it mean by substance being unclassified?
Substance Lufshin's wrote, substance being unclassified according to GHS mean it's not toxic. It is classified, being unclassified. Unclassified mean it is not toxic lah. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I can't hear you all. Can't hear. Oh, no wonder lah satu orang pun tak bercakap. Okay. So although we have alternative for reducing animal study, for example, using in vitro cytotoxicity test, okay, total replacement of animal tests require a considerable amount of further test development. Meaning to say, you cannot get rid of animal tests just like that, okay? Because for example, what happened to curcumin, when they first find out that curcumin cause anti-cancer activity using in vitro, when the report was published and everybody was very excited, then when they tested on the animal, nothing happened. Okay, that's why you cannot see curcumin in the pharmacy being used for treatment of cancer. Okay, so scientists need to still develop a more reliable test that represent live animal, then only we can stop use the animal. Okay, so sometimes I don't know, this is my personal opinion lah. Sometimes there are people who put sticker on their car against animal testing. Okay, I think you don't have to put that kind of thing lah kot. Because you still take paracetamol kan when you pening kepala. When you have headache, you go and take paracetamol. That paracetamol came from animal testing. So if you don't want animal testing, you should find any painkiller that have been produced without using animal. Then only you will not look hypocrite lah. That is my opinion. I think you still need to use animal for your testing, okay, because that represent human life. Okay, nobody take painkiller, nobody take medicine when they are dead. They take medicine when they are alive. So you need animal to give result for the substance that you study. Any comment? Komen je, tak potong markah. Kalau komen bagus boleh tambah markah. Okay. Okay, we move on to the next slide. Okay, now we going to more detail about OECD. Okay, we are not going detail on OECD 401 because it has been removed, okay, suspended kan. So because 401 is actually to measure LD50 directly. So you need to see 50% death. So OECD 420, okay, enable substance to be ranked according to the EU system of classification. Causes less compound related mortality. Okay. So meaning to say the end point is not mortality. So this OECD 420, you just want to see the sign of toxicity. If you see the sign of toxicity at certain dose, let's say at 300, then you for your study, for example, you should not use 300 as your highest point. Let's say you're doing on anti-inflammatory study. Okay, you inject, you have to select dose of that compound. So maybe you can start, the highest dose is 200, not 300, because 300 you do FDP, you know 300 cause sign of toxicity. Okay, so you use 200, and then the next dose you reduce it. Normally twofold. Okay, from 200 it become 100, and then from 100 you reduce to another dose, which is, for me, I use fivefold. So if fivefold, it will be 100 divided by 5, it will be 20. So the dose selected for anti-inflammatory study after I carried out my OECD will be 20, 100, and 200. Okay, so that is how you decide or design your experiment. Normally, okay, when you do animal testing later, when you do toxicity, you do according to what have been designed. When you do experiment in the real experiment, let's say you are doing anti-inflammatory study, the maximum dose that you should use is 3. Okay, meaning to say, for your substance, your compound, your sample, your extract, it should be 3 dose. If you use only 2 dose, normally if you send for journal for publication, they reject, because you cannot see the dose response activity. If you let's say you use 200 and 100, or you use 220, okay, 220 2 dose, or 200 and 100 2 dose, you saw that this dose of your sample or your extract, for example, or your compound cause anti-inflammatory activity. 100 cause 50% inhibition of inflammation. The 200 cause 80% of inhibition of inflammation. So you have 50 and 80 at 100 to 200. Basically, you can say it is a dose dependent response, right? However, for journal, they need one more dose. Okay, so normally you reduce the dose, because based on your activity OECD study, you find out 300 is causing toxic effect, so you reduce to 20. You need to do that. Okay, so that is just give you some extra info lah. Later you will do final year project. So put in your mind that if you do animal study, you have to use 3 dose. So OECD 420 causes less compound related mortality. So you subject the animal to less pain, less suffering, and less distress, because if you look at the sign of toxicity, maybe what you can see is just a weight loss, or you can see salivation, or you can see diarrhea. Okay, but so you can stop the experiment already at that dose. You don't have to wait until you see convulsion, tremor, for example. This is causing the animal to suffer, right? So if you see something like salivation, more saliva come out, or you see diarrhea, or you see weight loss, so you can stop the experiment already. So you are causing less pain, less distress, or less suffering to the animal. That's what we mean. Okay, so you for 420, you need to use 5 animals from one sex, usually females. Okay, and then uses only moderately toxic doses. So if you test and the dose did not cause lethality, but it caused toxic, moderately toxic, like the list I give to you, so that is enough, okay, for you to conclude on your compound toxic profile, whether it is toxic, at what dose, it did not cause toxicity at what dose. So you just use moderately toxic, okay, not until lethality is observed. Okay, as I told you, the 420 does not use death as an endpoint. Okay, just observation of clear signs of toxicity. Okay, so let's say at 300, you can see sign of toxicity. At 50, you did not see sign of toxicity. What you can say is that you can estimate the LD50 to be between 50 and 300. Okay, 50 to 300. From there, maybe you can add add one more dose between 50 to 300. For example, 150. Okay, you put one, you take one rats, you try at 150, which is between 50 and 300, and see what happens using only one mice or rat. If let's say at 150, the mice is still healthy, no sign of toxicity, that means the LD50 can be estimated between 150 and 300. So from there, you can start your experiment with the highest dose of 150. Then the second dose will be 75, which is twofold reduction. Then the next dose, the third dose is the lowest dose, is fivefold reduction of from 75, which is 15. Okay, that is the dose that will be used for anti-inflammatory study, for example. Right? So this 550, 500, 200, sometimes they use 300, okay? You can use 500 or 300 as the 4 fixed dose level, okay? And then you can use 5 male or 5 female rats. So objective is to find, to see the clear sign of toxicity, but no mortality. This one you just read, okay? Just explanation, further explanation. Okay, so fixed dose procedure, OECD 420, there will be sighting study, and then only main study. Okay, the main toxicity study will be determined based on the dose after sighting study. So this is example of sighting study. I have explained it to you earlier. Okay, okay, this is sighting study. Okay, the first sighting study one, slide 34, sighting study one, you can start at 5, or you can start at 50, depending on the result, whether to proceed up or to proceed down. If you use 5, you have to proceed up lah. Unless 5 is killing the animal, then you stop the experiment. Okay, and then sighting study 2, you can also start at 300 or you can start directly at 2000. Okay, if 2000 did not kill the animal, then you can use any dose within 0 to 2000 as your dose. If 2000 did not kill the animal, you can choose. Sorry. Oh, okay. If 2000 did not kill your animal, you just add another 4, or you carry out another experiment again using 2000, using 5 5 animals. If 5 of them did not kill the animal, then the compound is considered safe throughout the dose from 0 to 2000. Okay, so from your experiment, you can start to decide. Maybe you will use the highest dose 300, the second dose 150, and then the lowest dose is 75. Okay, but if your experiment, if you carry out the sighting study at 300, you find out the animal there is sign of toxicity at 300, or you find out there is sign of toxicity at sign of toxicity at 300, then the dose for your main study should be between 0 to 300. Okay, if you see 300 cause death, then you should reduce the dose to 50 and observe, similar to 300. After that, only you can do your main study. Okay, so main study, for main study only you use 5 animal. Okay, for sighting study you use only 1 animal. Then you do the same. If you see no toxicity at 5, you increase the dose until you see toxicity. If you see toxicity, if you see death, you stop. If you see sign of toxicity, also you stop. And the range is at where you observe the sign of toxicity. Whatever the dose is, it is similar. Okay. So before we move to 4 to 3, okay. Is it okay? Okay, I proceed with OECD 4 to 3, which is acute toxic class method, ATC. Okay, the concept is similar to fixed dose, but the endpoint is mortality. Okay, the endpoint is mortality, not sign of toxicity. So for mortality, you only use 3 animals of one sex per step. Okay. Okay, so if normally 3 but never more than 6, okay, the maximum number of animal to be used is 6. Normally people use 3. If you get inconsistent result, you can use 6. So the dose is still the same. Okay, no sighting study involved. So not to get precise LD50, just to observe if more than 2 animal died, that is considered toxic. Okay. So that's of a proportion of animal. Let's say you use 2 or more, 2 to 3 animal die from the injection of that dose. That is the endpoint. You stop the experiment. So you can go back and look at the flow chart, almost similar, but there is no okay. There is no ABC. Okay, there is only based on proportion of animal death. If 0 to 1 considered safe, 2 to 3 considered toxic. So if toxic, you stop. If non-toxic, you can proceed. If non-toxic, you proceed above. If toxic, let's say for 300, you use at 300. Then if it is toxic, you reduce the dose. If it is not no toxic, you can increase to 2000 until 2000 only. So based on this, you can categorize the compound into being toxic, which category, 1, 2, 3, and so on. So that is 4 to 3, yeah. Now is 4 to 5. Okay, 4 to 5 is up and down procedure. Aims to estimate LD50, okay, by testing individual animals sequentially with the dose for each animal being adjusted up and down depending upon the outcome of previous animals. And at the same time, you use impending death as the end point. So what you did is also you use one animal. Okay, you use one animal and you start at certain dose suggested is 175. Okay, you start at this dose, so you see if the animal die, you reduce the dose. If the animal did not die, you increase the dose until 2000 also, but the range is like this. So this is what this dose is what you can see in this table in page slide 44, what we mean by factor 3.2. Okay, the dose was designed. Okay, if you reduce by factor 3.2, you will get almost 55. You reduce by 3.2, you get 17.5. You increase by 3.2, you will get roughly 550. Okay, you will not get the exact, but this is the procedure for calculation. So, okay. Okay, wait lah. I'll read this first. Two, three. Oh, Nur Aimiliana asked 2, 3 means what? Which slide? Huh? 4, 2, 3. Oh, okay. Somebody dah jawab. Ratio tu, which slide please? Slide 40. Slide 40. Where is it? Oh, okay. That one is not ratio. That is 2 to 3. Dash, not double dot tu It is dash. Sengkang. 2 ke 3. 2 hingga 3. Alright. Okay. 2 betul. ISO. 98. 2 hingga 3 animals mati kot. Yes. Ya, yeah, animal memang 3. If 2 hingga 3 mati, that is considered toxic. You stop the experiment. If you use, say you use, you start with the dose 300. Okay. If you use dose 300, 2 to 3 animal die. That means you should not test the compound at 2000 anymore. What you need to do, if you follow the graph, the flow chart, if 300 cost to 3 animals to die, then you see the anak panah going to 50 mg per kg, right? Meaning to say you need to test at 50 mg per kg. If at 50 mg per kg also 2 to 3 animal die, you follow the anak panah, you see you need to reduce to 5. But if only 0 to 1 animal die, then you can still use that animal, that dose in your study, or you can use it as a marker for your acute toxicity main study. Faham? Meaning to say the dose that you will select later should not exceed that 300. Okay, Ling Leong Fang asked, how do we know which OECD should we use? This one is up to you. Okay, you can use which one, any of the OECD. It's not that because you want to do this study, say you want to do anti-inflammatory study, you need to use 420, or you want to do hepatotoxicity study, you need to use 425. No, these are the method that you can choose. Okay, so it is not what specific for certain tests or what. These are the method designed by the scientists, okay, involved in OECD testing to reduce the number of animals for carrying out toxicity testing. So you have different model. You can choose anyone that you like. Some people, they don't want to see, some people, like I told you, they against animal testing, but they have to do animal testing. So when they need to do animal testing, they don't want to see the mice to don't want to see death of animal. So what they did, they choose the model that only observe for clinical sign of toxicity. Huh? So that is how lah, how the selection can be based. Actually, up to you. It doesn't matter which one that you used. Okay. All right, Ling. So you for we proceed. You nak rehat sekejap ke apa? You need a break. Siapa nak makan keropok spring dulu? Nak makan kacang? Continue Okay, Love Chin cakap please continue, so I continue lah. Alright. No, I cannot hear your voice, none of you. You tak tekan button tu ke? Button.
Tekan doktor.
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 Okay.
Doktor dengar tak?
Doktor tak dengar ke?
Doktor.
Tak ni lah. Asma.
Doktor saya cakap
I
ni
tengok sini dia macam off juga.
Kita pun cakap tadi tak panggil doktor.
Tak pakai earphone pun. Hah? Oh, suruh pakai. Lah. Mana ada earphone? Sekejap. Okey, rumah kami tak ada earphone Mau miskin.
Oh, betul.
Tengok volume. Oi, volume dah separuh dah 40 ni. Tak ada sebab kau punya sign of microphone punya sign tu pun dia palang.
Doktor,
Hello.
saya dah tak bilang dah.
Ha,
Hello.
macam mana?
Doktor,
Semalam okey apa? Semalam tak boleh rekod. Pui. Oh,
sebab rekod kot.
red.
Saya rasa sebab doktor rekod
Orang
kot.
tak
Sebab
pakai
dia takut
earphone dah
rekod.
sekarang.
Seronok gelap.
Oh, dah tengah record dah sekarang ni.
Yang on tu pun tak dengar suara dia. Jangan kata yang mute.
Kita rasa macam tu lah. Sebab
Termute.
doktor.
Kat mana nak
Betul
cari
lah,
tu?
betul lah. Okay, tak apa.
Rasanya sebab doktor record lah.
Aimi.
Yup,
Aimi.
saya.
Oh, tak ada apa.
Nisa. Oh, seronok doktor tak dengar.
Sebab rekod.
Doktor.
Hati-hati takut rekod
Loh.
dengar. Ayuk.
Dia tak dengar pun.
Okey, nak kalau macam tu
Sedih
nanti
lah.
lah baru tanya kot. Nanti baru kita tanya. Okey, kita sambung dulu. Okay, so this timetable lah. This table slide 44 and 45 just for you to read through the summarized part. So later if you still have question, we have WhatsApp group. Okay, we can still online also. Best juga online ni. Okay.
Ya
Okay,
Allah.
this is just for your information for OECD 4 to 5. There are three stopping criteria. What is stopping criteria? If you look at the slide number 45, I have circled it. Okay. So you stop the experiment if the three stopping criteria is met. Okay. So this is the stopping criteria. If 3 consecutive animals survive at the upper bound or the higher dose, or 5 reversals occur in any consecutive animal tested. Okay, at least, and then the last one, at least 4 animals have followed the first reversal and the specified likelihood ratios exceeded the critical value. So this ratio The calculation is very complicated. If you want to have a look, you can go to this link. Okay. Okay. Limitation of acute toxicity study. Okay. All are likely to perform poorly for chemical with shallow dose response slope. Okay. Okay, certain compounds, they may have a very shallow dose response slope, meaning to say, let's say, it will only produce toxic effect at 200 and 290. Okay, 200, sorry to say, between 200 to 270, for example. Okay, so what happened is that for the, because your group, your dose is between 50 to 300, right? The gap. So you cannot see the toxic effect because some if you learn pharmacology before, you have a bell shape, dose response, right? Dose response bell shape. So sometimes at certain dose, the compound become toxic, highly toxic, but at outside that slope, that dose response slope, outside the dose response curve, you will not see the toxic effect. Okay, for example. So if you see guideline 420, OECD 420, use evidence of toxicity as an endpoint. So if you cannot, if the dose response curve is very shallow, meaning to say it is difficult for you to observe. Let's say the dose that cause toxicity is between 10 to 20, but you test at 5, after 5 no toxicity, you jump to 50, right? So you jump to 50 also, you see no toxicity, but actually at 7, let's say at 7, at 10 to 20, there is toxic effect. So this kind of toxicity, it did not give you accurate lah, completely accurate result. Okay, and sometimes what happen is that you will see delayed death. Okay, unusually test substance may cause delayed death, meaning to say you give the animal that substance today, you test it, after how many hours you observe the endpoint, what happen is that you can see death after 5 days or more. Okay, sometimes that kind of thing happen. So because you did not see any sign of death, when you observe the animal in the first time, so you consider that dose is not toxic, right? Let's say you give 200 mg per kg and you see no death to the animal, no sign of toxicity. But because that compound is in the body of the animal, after certain time, metabolism and so on, then only the metabolized product cause injury to the liver, to the kidney and so on, cause toxic effect to the animal. Then after 5 days only you saw that the animal is dying. So actually you have to stop at that dose already, but you have proceed with After 300, you proceed with 3,000, for example. Okay. So what happened in this kind of study? When there is a delayed death, you may require additional lower dose level to be tested. Okay, to be repeated. So you need a study to be repeated. Meaning to say, you have assumed 300 is not toxic because after a few hours of observation, no toxic effect. Then, if you kept the animal for more than 1 week, then after 5 days, the animal start to die. Then what you need to do is, you need to repeat the experiment using dose lower than 300. Maybe before this, you have used 50, and 50 did not cause death even after you kept the animal for 7 days, no death. So that means 50 is a safe dose. That means what you need to do is you need to add several lower dose, lower than 300. Yeah, maybe from 50 you can put 100, 150, 200. Yeah. So you need to do more additional study. Okay, so this is the benefit of using acute toxicity test. Okay, you get idea for subchronic and chronic toxicity test. Okay, by using acute toxicity test, the dose that you use, because you are given only, you give the rats or the mice one dose only in acute toxicity, whatever the dose is, okay, whether it's 300 or 2,000, you give it once only to the animal. Okay. However, in subchronic and chronic study, you have to give repeatedly for so many days. Okay, so the dose used in subchronic and chronic studies should be lower than the dose that you use for acute toxicity. Okay, let's say for example your acute toxicity study show that 300 is the toxic dose for substance A. So for your subchronic study, you cannot give 300 every day or every 2 days or every week to the animal. You need to give, let's say 50 or maybe 100. Okay, then depend on how many time you give per day. That sometimes you give morning and evening. Okay, so you give twice, one or twice a day. So that this kind of thing require that the dose to be reduced. Understand? So what I'm trying to say is that based on your acute study, the subchronic and chronic toxicity study, the dose should be lower than what you use in acute toxicity. Okay? Then acute toxicity study is also, the data also used for risk assessment of acute effects, whether, because you have categorized the compound, classified the compound, the substance into certain classification, so you can use it for risk assessment. If it is a toxic compound at certain dose, if there is leaking, what happened? So that kind of thing, you do risk assessment. And then for treatments of poisoning cases, okay, and then for use for regulatory toxicology, and then also to determine toxicity mechanisms, and also for structure activity relationship studies. Okay, so that is the usage of data obtained from acute toxicity tests. recently I revised a paper. Wait, Okay, can you see this paper?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to show example, yeah. So this paper is about hepatotoxicity of Polygonum multiflorum root. Okay. So Polygonum multiflorum, if you read from the literature, okay, it is used in Chinese traditional medicine, I think. And, okay, it is used in Chinese traditional medicine. Okay, ada nama dia tu. Apa nak sebut, tak berani, takut salah. Okay, as a tonic and anti-aging remedy. But however, they found out that this plant is actually, it have hepatotoxicity effect. It can cause liver toxicity to liver. Okay. So various study have been carried out to determine what is the how the mechanism that it cause liver damage. Actually, it work on the UGT1A1 enzyme. So what is the compound inside the plant that cause that toxicity effect? You can see imodine, okay, imodine, TSG. Okay. So these are compounds isolated from the plant and tested again uh, on the animal and also in vitro and found to cause toxicity effect. So you see, yesterday I told you about zebra fish model, kan? So this zebra fish model is used to study hepatotoxicity effect. You can use animal, you can use mice or rats to study hepatotoxicity. You can get the liver from the rat, you do histology, but to reduce the use of animal, they use zebra fish instead. Okay, so at the end you can see some, okay, this is what we call structure activity relationship. You know the structure of the compound, you put in a computer using certain software, you can know based on the binding. Okay, you saw the yellow dot and so on. If you can know from the binding, the computer will tell you the energy of the binding, whether the structure activity is whether the effect is, it can predict the effect, okay, based on the binding of the compound using the model, the computer software. So this part, Dr. Farah is doing with Perdana University. I'm doing with university from Saudi Arabia, Imam Abdul Rahman University. So you can see, you can predict the binding of your compound. You see, binding of your compound to UG81 enzyme. If there is a good binding, that means that compound can block the enzyme from producing its activity. That is why that lead to liver toxicity, meaning the enzyme have lost its activity due to binding of the compound to the enzyme. Okay. So this is example of zebra fish model. If you give the compound, you can see the liver of the zebra fish, okay, start to swollen, be, okay, swollen, and then when you what is this? This is indicator of liver. Sorry, this is indicator of liver hepatotoxicity. Okay. Need to see what is B, C, D, E, F. I think B, C, D, E, F is the type of extract. Okay, the red dashes circles are the liver. Sorry, liver. So you can see from the observation. Okay, this is the liver. Okay, you do staining and you can see the liver become increase. Okay, due to toxicity, the liver become really become bigger. Okay, due to toxic, membengkak, swollen. So you can see that using the staining, proper staining. So I review this paper and I give it a reject. I give it a reject because I reject this paper from publication because there are several other papers, similar papers, almost similar papers. Mana? So you have to read when you become a lecturer. They will assign you. You have to read that paper. You have to read and then you give some comments. So in this case, for this one, I give major. No, not this one. See. So there are several papers I have detected published on this plant, on this compound, imodine and so on. So I don't think there is new finding on this paper, so I give a reject status. So if you become a lecturer, this is what part of your job, not just teaching. Okay, we move on. Replacement, as you know, the third R. Okay, what are those replacement using computerized model? Okay, may replace some animal testing. So like that one I show you, you use computerized model, you can decide whether that compound is toxic or not. If the computer, the software suggests it is not toxic, then you don't need to test that compound for toxicity testing. Those that are being suggested to be toxic, then only you test it. Okay. So I give a link to you also if you want to know more on this QSAR. Okay. Structure activity relationship. You can go to the YouTube. Okay, same also. And then also modeling. This is also a computer-based model. Okay. Also, I give you a link. We will not go detail on the test. Just for your information. And then microarray technology. Okay. You use DNA of protein fragment placed onto a slide as a miniaturized reaction areas. Okay, to detect any changes in gene or protein. So also I give you a link to go if you want to know more about this. Okay, for your final year project. Okay, maybe some of the lecturer later will give a title related to microarray. For example, the use of microarray to study anti-cancer. So what is microarray? You go and read now, so that you know what is microarray, and if you're interested, you can book that lecturer. Right? And then the use of omics technology. You have genomics, proteomics, metabolomics. I give you the definition there. Okay, and then the YouTube link for you to read how the omics technology is used in toxicology. Okay. Sometimes, for example, metabolomic, you look at after you give the extract or substance to the rats, for example, or the cell culture, you look at certain bio not bio metabolite, certain metabolite, whether they are increased or they are decreased. Let's say you use a cancer cell, that cancer cell have a marker A, high marker A. Okay, let's say for example colon cancer cell HT29, let's say it have a high presentation of marker A inside the cell. So if you give your extract or your substance and it kills or reduce the number of cancer cell, meaning to say the substance have anti-cancer activity, so you proceed with metabolomic study to see which marker is reduced. Then you know the mechanism, how the cell reduce the cancer. Okay, certain marker, let's say marker A is reduced, marker B is maintained, marker C also reduced, for example. Then you know there is a link between marker A and C. You have to draw a diagram and so on. Okay. I show you some more. Okay, this is molecular docking process of a compound near sequosite. Okay, also similar to QSAR. Okay, you want to know how the compound binds to the protein. Okay, so if it is suitable, the software will give you result based on the binding, the energy of the binding and so on. Then you can predict whether there is a good or bad activity or no activity and so on, depending on what you are looking at. Okay, this is the type of mechanism. Okay, you can propose your mechanism based on, okay, they say involving STAT, involving JAK. You know this, the receptor, right? Ion channel. Okay, there is a protein tyrosine kinase and so on. How your extract F. bulgari trigger the mechanism by causing phosphorylation of the receptor. Okay, so what happened? They do the protein expression study. You can see the stat is expressed. Okay, in this is what the kind of study using in vitro or in vivo. Also, they also carry out in vivo study. Okay, so that means you need to do in vitro and in vivo when you do research. Okay, this just for your information. So this is omics, and lastly the in vitro cytotoxic that we discussed earlier. Okay, you can use Drosophila, you can use freshwater snail, you can use this worm, Senor Habditis elegans, okay, to do toxicity study on your sample. Okay, So I think we stop at this slide. Can we continue with in vitro tomorrow? Attendance. Where nak tanya betul. Ya, dah. Okay, guys, I will upload the attendance punya sheet after this. Can you log in later? Lupa nak buat lah. Boleh ya? You log in later to sign your attendance. I forgot to prepare. But by today, you sign that attendance. Okay, thank you. Any question? Did you take class apa? Instrumentation. Hagilan, you ada class rep, right? Okay, we also have to have an online class lagi ya. Nak buat kelas lagi ya? Toxiko pun dah lebam ni.
Cok. Aku nampak kau.
Okay, kita buat macam ni lah. I will create the class. You take attendance for that. You take attendance for instrumentation class macam biasa ni. I upload the notes. You read. Then on the day that we decide to meet, you come in and ask question. You read the notes first, then ask question. Boleh tak?
Boleh.
You read first the note, I create the class later.
Boleh.
I upload the notes. You read the notes. Which one you tak faham, we meet and you ask question at that time. I think that will be more of apa orang kata, not time wasted lah. Because if I talk about the slide that you have already know, buat apa kan? Better I talk to you, you ask question or explanation for something that you are not clear about. Esok pukul 10 juga lah kot. Last. Tak boleh juga nak buat 30 minit.
Jap. Esok
So
subjek apa tak faham?
everybody understand apa yang saya cakap tadi? Boleh ya? Clear?
Ya, doktor.
Esok toxiko kan juga.
Tak tahu tak cakap apa instrumen.
Sebab yang nak habiskan yang ni.
Oh,
Jadi
Noted. Kesian Love Shin.
siapa Love Shin tu? Macam international kan? Pada dengar je kan?
Dengar
Tak baik tamu untuk orang.
Saya rasa doktor ikut juga lah soal kita ni habis dah, tak apalah.
Tak sempat lagi.
Sekejap.
Wait, instrumen tu bila?
Instrumen nanti doktor upload notes. Tapi tak tahu bila.
Mid tu tak tahu lagi bila eh.
Alright. Alright.
Okay, you nampak ni?
Nampak?
Guys, nampak? What is the reversal? Definition of reversal.
A reversal occurs if any of the following are true.
A reversal occurs if any of the following are true. 1. A death is followed by a survival at a lower dose. 2. A survival is followed by a death at a higher dose. And 3. A death is followed by a survival at a dose greater than or equal to the limit dose. So that is definition of reversal.
Tak faham. Dia reversal kalau salah satu daripada tu adalah betul, kan? Macam klasik je lah. Faham yang tu tapi macam death is followed by lower dose. Higher? Tak faham lah. Ataupun sama.
Dia dah hidup lepas tu mati balik. Faham tak?
Hidup waktu mati balik.
Dia survive lepas tu mati. Kat lower dose ke, high dose ke.
Oh, faham. Itu je lah. Kiranya hidup mati balik. Dos mana-mana pun.
Ini ada question. Tak faham yang mana? Nur Syafira. Siti Sarah Hanum. Dok Pehe. Oh Allah.
Kelakar.
Elaborate more on what? Saya tak pandai baca. Nak baca apa? ABC. Ni kurang tengok Upin Ipin lah ni. Cepat. Dok Pehe kat mana? Oh, reversal tadi. Tu. Because you are testing OECD 4 to 5 using one animal, right? So let's say at a lower dose, the first animal you see death. Then the second animal that you test is causing survival, is survive. So that is a reversal. Okay? And then you test lagi at higher dose. Also you see survival. And then the second animal you see death. That is also a reversal. Or at a dose greater than or equal to limit dose, let's say 2000, you see death followed by a survival. That is also called reversal. So kalau death, sepatutnya semua death lah. Siti Sarah Hanum, maksudnya kena death dulu. Kalau death, kena semua death lah.
Oh, faham.
Dia tak ada, dia kalau nombor 3 kurang faham apa dia. Oh, nombor 3 tu je. Tu Ain Nadira dah letak kat situ. Meaning to say, if you ada 6 animal you test, kan, dia cakap 5 out of berapa tadi? 5 out of 6 kan is causing reversal. Okay, 5 reversals occur in any 6 consecutive animals tested. So you buat the first die for the highest dose, and then the second animal survive. Okay, so that is reversal. So if you tested, if there is 5 reversals occur for each of the dose, okay, on 6 consecutive animals tested, so you need to stop OECD. You dah tak boleh pakai OECD criteria ni. Okay, so if more the upper bound, the highest dose lah. If the higher dose 3 consecutive animals survive, then you should stop the experiment, meaning to say the compound is non-toxic. Okay, so 6 consecutive animals, if there are 5 reversal occur, you should stop. At least 4 animals have followed the first reversal and the specified, then you calculate the ratio that exceed the critical value, then also you have to stop the OECD 425. Okay, so if you Google in internet, you type acute toxicity testing, normally people will not use the OECD 425. It's complicated. Okay, if you Google, you type extract anti-inflammatory activity or whatever activity lah, hepatoprotective activity, anti-cancer activity, then you put acute toxicity testing, and then OECD in your search Google punya column, space tu, you search, you will find paper that normally use 423 or 420. Normally people use 423 or 420. Dapat tak? Mati hidup balik. No, Syasha. Animal lain lah, not the same animal, mati hidup balik. Oh, itu dah zombie apocalypse tau. Not the same animal lah, different animal. Yang pertama maybe you dapat mati. Yang kedua tu sepatutnya mati juga, tapi dia tak mati, dia reverse daripada yang first tu, dia hidup. And then you try lagi, masih the same reversal you see. So you have to stop the experiment. Yeah, limit dose or upper bound tu is the max dose lah tu. Almost similar, tapi yang ketiga, nombor 3 tu, Nur Sabrina binti Jafar, nombor 3 tu sama dengan nombor 2 lah kiranya. Tak. Sebab tu dia ada nombor 2 dengan nombor 3. Nombor 3 tu dia kena ada calculation tu juga. Dia ada calculation apa? Nombor. Dia ada calculation of ratio tu. So this one calculation ni, you Google OECD 425, dia bagi dekat you PDF file, You can Google dekat Yahoo OECD 425, 423, 420 tu, dia akan bagi kat you each specific PDF file and lebam you nak membaca. Okay, so since you are not toxicologist, tak payah detail sangat kot. Okay, if you nak read through the untuk 425 tu, I dah bagi dekat you PDF dia tu. Okay, you can Google kat dalam tu. If you let's say for example you decide to do your master or your PhD in specifically on toxicology part, then this thing should be in your hand. Dia macam ni. Macam tu ya, kacang ya. Orang tanya you OECD apa, OECD 425 apa, you tahu nak explain. So that is apa, you punya field lah. You should know lah if you decide to do toxicology. In this case we are biomedic, we don't go detail kot, not that detail. So tak payah pening sangat lah. You just read through. Kalau you interested, you read through. Okay. Tikus hanya hidup balik masa Easter Day. Takut ni. Panjangkan PKP. So any other ni kan, esok kita sambung in vitro lah. In vitro pun tak banyak. If you go through malam ni, you tengok-tengok sikit notes tu. The rest tu I banyak bagi on the model, just for, that's why I letak FYI, because not for your level lah, you to know very detail, just for you to know that there are model for you to study. Let's say you want to study effect of certain compound or extract on the eye. Let's say people claim certain plant, if you take the leaf and you prepare a tea, for example, you drink it every day, your eyes will be clear. Okay, so how do you want to test this? So you need to use cell culture that have defect, the eye cell culture that have defect, for example, or you use animal that have been induced to have damaged retina, for example. Then you give your extract and see what happened. Okay, so this in vitro toxicology. Okay, just for you to tell you that there is another method je lah. You don't have to know every model, episkin, whatever ni semua. You can actually dekat Yahoo, you can YouTube, you can get the idea. Using graphic, they present to you how to do the test. Okay, just for you to know lah what are the available model. What you need to know is there is in vitro and in vivo model, and that what is the advantage, what is the disadvantage. Okay, so that you taksub, what we call taksub mah. Apa taksub mah? Like those who don't believe in animal testing. Okay, you need animal testing. Nak siapa pula? Betul.
Habis foto tak? Habis dah ni.
Ain Nabila, kenal lah, sombong, tak nak jumpa PA. Pui.
Pui.
Abdul Asyik. Asyikirin pun kenal lah. Ni pun sombong lah ni. Ini yang sombong.
Ayuh.
Weh, pakai term anak ah. Macam apa? Macam sugar daddy pula. Jangan weh.
Puasa kat tu, puasa.
Mentor, mentee. MM.
MM.
Ada apa-apa tanya cepat. Tanya, jangan tak tanya.
Macam menjaga je.
Dia orang ni jumpa hak ni je. Mana nak jumpa saya. Saya ni belajar kat UPM je. Tak ada soalan, Asma. Okey. Faham ah?
Faham.
Korang ni siapa yang belum 3.0, siapa yang belum 3, duk bawah 3 lagi CGPA. Cepat-cepatlah hampa bagi naik CGPA hampa kalau hampa nak sambung master PhD. Kalau tidak susah dapat scholarship oi.
Orang kita banget.
Ada scholarship weh untuk master.
Ada kan? Dah boleh tutup kau ni?
Weh, dah dengar. Yalah, daripada UPM, scholarship UPM or scholarship daripada grant supervisor.
Oh,
Sekarang scholarship di Malaysia dia based on CGPA. Dulu based on CGPA, but as long as you 3.0, second class apa you dah boleh dapat. Now no more like that. Now based on CGPA, if you 3.5, somebody else 3.3, chances you lagi tinggi. If then come somebody with 3.7, then gone lah you punya chances. Dia macam tu lah sekarang.
Faham.
And I advise you all lah. Advice sekarang lah, baru tahun 3 kan. Pergi sambung lah. Tak kisah you sambung dengan siapa pun. You go and sambung. Dah tak ada makna dah degree-degree ni nak kerja. You jadi macai lah sampai ketua. Lepas tu jadi wabak COVID-20 pula nanti kena buang kerja. You dulu lah kena buang kerja. Yang ni tak pernah dengar lagi kan Abdul Syakirin. Ni COVID-20. Saya punya cakap. Okey. Tak payah fikirlah nak apa. Nak pergi kerja dulu, nak apa. Skip master, betul PhD. Kalau first class boleh. Kalau second class boleh. Provided you kena start register master after 1 year or 1.5 year. If supervisor puas hati, your scope of study is enough for you to convert to PhD, then boleh apply untuk convert. You kena present what result have you got from your master 1.5 year, then whether dapat kelulusan or not lah. Penat belajar. Sekarang je kau penat belajar. Kau buat master PhD nanti bukannya kau kena pergi belajar kelas tiap-tiap hari dah. Mungkin kena ambil kelas, 1-2 kelas. Kelas statistik, kelas handling animal, ethics. Itu pun untuk maintain CGPA je. Tak payah ada yang lain. Kau punch, buat kerja kat lab je. Kan? Ada setengah lecturer, kau datang ke kau tak datang, janji ada result. Kalau macam Prof Daud, hari-hari dia nak tengok kau kat lab sebab dia bermaster team di lab most of the time. Ada setengah supervisor, tak kisah. Ada setengah supervisor, tiap minggu nak kena present, macam Prof Roslan. Ada presentation, ada meeting, ada setengah tak ada. So you kena pilih, and then you nak pilih supervisor nanti ada dia punya kriteria yang you have to consider. Kalau salah pilih, merana hidup kan. So You have to know some, because you sekarang ni UPM ke mana-mana pun, especially RU, Research University, you have to publish a paper for you to graduate. If you finish your punya project master or PhD tapi satu paper pun tak publish lagi, you boleh naik convocation, ambil scroll kosong. Kan? So macam mana you nak dapat sijil yang original? Lepas you publish paper, you pergi GSO, graduate school, you report. Saya dah publish paper, tunjuk bukti, dia bagilah scroll sijil you. Kalau you nak sijil you masa you naik convocation, during you punya master PhD tu dah start kena publish paper. So this kind of thing, what happen, you need to find supervisor yang banyak tulis paper, yang tiap-tiap tahun ada publish paper. This one you have to Google, you have to check, because kadang-kadang satu orang supervisor, satu orang lecturer, kadang-kadang you tengok dia, you check dia punya ni, setahun satu paper je dia publish. Kalau setahun satu paper je dia publish, kalau dia ada 5 orang student, dia ada 2 orang, 3 orang student, definitely out of 3, 1 je paper yang akan publish. So if you are not lucky, you are not one of them. Meaning to say, you punya lambat lagi nak keluar pula. Kan? So this kind of thing, you, satu lagi, kadang-kadang kita nak pilih supervisor, kita pilih yang kita suka. Kan? Kadang-kadang bila dah suka, buat-buat dengan dia, rupanya dia ni jenis, you kena ada di lab. You tak ada kerja pun, you kena ada di lab. I nak you 8 to 5 ada di lab. Tiba-tiba hari tu kau tak ada, kau pergi beli apa ke, pukul 3 kau keluar, dia pun naik atas tengok kau tak ada kat lab, dah bergaduh. Kan? I have one kawan, one of my friend buat master, dia ambil sampel of liver, sepatutnya dia kena letak dalam phosphate buffer solution. So phosphate buffer solution tu tak ada, dia pakai, dia call dia punya Prof ni komiti dia lah, one of the committee member untuk master dia. Dia punya supervisor is one doctor, lady, bukan prof lagi. So what happened, the prof said use normal saline, letak your liver, you letak dalam normal saline, you cepat-cepat bawa ke lab and process. Bila dia present progress report, dia pun cakap lah dia pakai normal saline and as suggested by Prof tu. So the supervisor tak puas hati. Supervisor kata, why you ask the Prof, why don't you ask me? I want you to use phosphate buffer saline, PBS. 6 bulan supervisor tak bercakap dengan dia. That kind of thing, you akan ada satu orang, Mr. Valen tu, 5 tahun buat master, supervisor tak nak lepas. Supervisor suruh tambah. Bila nak convert, tak nak di-convert ke PhD. So that kind of thing lah. Okay, you will go through benda-benda tu. Sometime later, if you want to discuss ke benda-benda ni, you can email ke, WhatsApp ke. Okay. Ini tips, bukan semua orang kata. Saja saya beritahu je, so that you get prepared. My supervisor dulu, I don't think you pernah jumpa Prof Manan kot, dah pension. Dia masa saya nak buat master, nak buat degree lah, I buat master, I buat degree, master dan PhD dengan dia. So when I jumpa degree tu, I jumpa nak buat final project, dia cakap I buat on ikan haruan as a painkiller. Itu je dia cakap pada saya. Dia tak ada bagi tahu kat you kena buat ni, you kena buat tu. Okay. You kena cari kat sini, kat situ. Dulu zaman kami mana ada internet lagi, kena pergi library tu, perpustakaan tu, cari information. Okay. So I modified, I look at morphine punya paper, morphine is painkiller, so I tengok apa orang buat. Then I modified because I'm using just haruan, so the sample is the same. The approach is the same on painkiller, different sample. So I buat lah apa yang ni. In the end, sampai PhD buat dengan dia. Because senang. Because satu, dia tak kacau you nak buat apa, as long as you buat benda you report, okay. So ada macam-macam orang lah kan, you akan jumpa nanti. Bukan bebel, bagi tahu. Nanti kalau dah kena tersangkut baru datang nak minta apa pendapat, mungkin salam pui dia bagi sebiji kan. Masa tu panggil dia buat AA je datang jumpa kau. Marah Weh, apa tu pasangan kat syurga. Tak apalah, nantilah. Ini just for your ni je. Maknanya sekarang you dah kena start survey you punya potential supervisor. Siapa yang nak ni. Kadang-kadang nanti bila you dapat supervisor, bila Dr. Zul nanti akan arrange you punya ni, bukan you all boleh pilih, you akan diundi. So kadang-kadang you dapat orang you tak suka, lecturer yang you tak mau, you nak dapat lecturer yang you ni, so you boleh tukar sama suka. Kadang-kadang yang dapat tak suka, kadang-kadang yang tu tak nak tukar pula, tu kacau lah. Jangan nak tanya dengan saya, tak payahlah, saya ni tak ada apa. Pergi cari yang hebat-hebat lah. Saya bagi nasihat ni sebagai abang tu adik lah. Free consultation. Okay. Last year, you punya senior 2 orang, saya tak ingat siapa nama. Yang satu tu Arab tu. Sebab dia orang request, dia orang dapat dengan saya tapi dia orang nak minta tukar, so tukar je lah, tak ada masalah. Bukan tukar lah, bukan tukar, dia orang, sebab saya dah cakap dia orang, saya punya kerja tak boleh buat dekat lab kita. Kalau kau masuk lab farmako tu, saya bagi kategori zoo. Lab farmako tu, kau masuk dalam tu, dia macam zoo. Kau nak tengok lab betul-betul, kau pergi lab Roslan, lab farmako, lab fisio, lab cell signaling, tu lab. Lab lain ni semua dah kena anak tiri. Ada penganiayaan berlaku lah. 10 years saya duduk di UPM, satu mesin pun lab farmako kami tak pernah beli. Okay. So that's why I told them, if you nak buat dengan saya punya kerja banyak saya buat kat tempat kat luar. Meaning to say you, sebab kalau saya nak buat in vitro anti-cancer ke, satu tempat boleh pakai tempat Dr. Abdah. Okay, tempat Dr. Abdah ada Dr. Abdah punya student, master dengan undergrad. Ada Dr. Sharifah pun pakai situ. Dr. Fizah pun pakai situ. Siapa lagi pakai kat situ. So, bila time nak pakai, you kena queue. Bila kena queue, bila nak siap kerja you. And then priority ialah untuk student lab lecturer kat situ. Macam Dr. Abdah, Dr. Sharifah. Kan? So benda-benda tu lah. So bila student kata dia tak boleh nak commit, nak pergi sini, nak pergi situ, tak apa saya kata. So saya banyak buat kerja kat luar. Yang penting you pergi, yang penting you kena cari macam saya cakap tadi, lecturer yang banyak publication. Macam mana you nak tahu? You go and see the budak master, budak PhD dia. Jangan tanya, apa ni Man, lecturer kau, supervisor kau banyak publish paper ke? Jangan tanya jerit-jerit kan. Ajak lagi minum kan. Ajak belanja, bawa keluar pergi minum ke apa ke. Jumpa kat mana ke, nampak dia tengah duduk lepak tu, pergi lepak, tanya, kau buat apa, abang buat apa, projek apa, macam mana supervisor ni, doktor ni macam mana, prof ni macam mana. From there you know lah kan. So itulah benda-benda, apa-apa, if ada apa nak tanya, tanya je. Kita tak cakap pasal siapa-siapa, kita cakap randomly kan. So kan itu je lah. Ada lagi? Siapa tadi ni? Dia dah ni ke? Dah keluar ke? Siapa? Nur Syafira, mak dah panggil. Salam kat mak. Minta tepung talam 1 pinggan. Asma Nurlaili tanya kriteria kalau dengan doktor. Kau jumpa saya lah. Kalau jumpa boleh cakap. Saya tak maulah cakap-cakap pasal orang ni, orang tu tak. Tak ni lah. Satu cara je, kau pergi PubMed, kau type nama semua lecturer biomedik yang ada dalam biomedik kau orang tu. Kau pergi PubMed, kau check, ataupun Scopus kan. Kau contoh dia Prof. Roslan, Muhammad Roslan Sulaiman. So kau type dekat, kalau Scopus tu dia ada bahagian surname dengan bahagian apa lagi satu name, first name. So kau letak Sulaiman M.R. kan, Muhammad Roslan Sulaiman, MR lah, Muhammad Roslan kan. Kalau macam saya Zainul Amruddin Zakaria Zain A. Kalau Kak Fizah Osman F. Itu dekat Scopus. Kalau dekat PubMed pun sama lah. Kau type kat PubMed tu, kau tengok list of papers setiap orang lecturer yang keluar. Jangan kau orang terkejut pula kan. Tapi kalau tak nak main dengan animal, boleh cari yang lecturer buat in vitro. Tapi in vitro ni satu je. Kalau bukan COVID lah, kalau ada apa-apa contamination dekat lab tu, habis dengan kau, dengan lecturer lain punya student semua tak boleh buat. Nak kena bersihkan lab balik. Kalau animal ni, satu dia cepat. Kan, satu kerja dengan animal ni cepat. Kau jaga je animal tu elok, bagi makan cukup. Kan. Kalau kau buat in vitro, kalau satu orang dah datang bersin kat dalam tu, dengan kau punya contaminate, lalas tak boleh buat eksperimen, culture balik. Okay. So, ada pro and cons lah. Kan. So, apa tu? And then in vitro ni dia perlu lab yang specific lab lah. Yang ada tissue culture lab. So tissue culture lab dekat Pharmaco ada 3 je. Satu di lab Prof Daud dah definitely anti-inflammatory. So tak boleh bawa masuk sel cancer. So Dr. Abdad and cancer. And then lab physio on apa dia buat lah. Macam inflammation jugalah. Tapi apa orang kata, priority ya. And then whether you boleh masuk access macam, because kita cakap itu department kita kan, tapi orang kat situ dia tak cakap macam tu, dia cakap ini lab lecturer aku kan. So orang tengok kita masuk bawa benda kita nak pakai pun orang muka masam, tu benda-benda tu normal lah kan. Dah kita nama dia menumpang kan. Cabut undi tak adil. Ni dah lama dah berlaku ni kan. Kalau zaman saya dulu pilih, and I am the first yang pergi pilih supervisor. Sampai lepas tu orang pun kelang kabut cari supervisor. Saja bagi dia orang kecoh kan. I pilih Prambanan tu sebab dia ajar Pharmaco masa tu. I like. So I pilih dia. Then I stay dengan dia buat master and PhD, because it is better you buat master degree, master and PhD on the same thing. So you specify you are expert in that thing, rather than sekarang degree you buat anti-inflammatory, master you tak nak pula, you pergi buat dengan Dr. Abdah pula on anti-cancer. Lepas tu PhD minat pula molecular docking, you ikut Dr. Farah ke for example. So you tak ada specific, dia tak consider you specific. You might consider you are versatile, but in the end bila orang minta kerja, orang tak nampak you as an expert. You punya kerja berterabur, you sekejap benda ni buat, sekejap benda ni buat. So you have to be specific kan. Tu je lah. Apa lagi, be careful when choosing. Okay. Ada apa-apa lagi? You tak nak main dengan animal pun, Abdul Syakirin, later you kena juga. When you jadi lecturer pun you kena juga. Because macam saya cakap pasal kukumin tadi lah, if let's say you found something better when you become a lecturer, something as anti-cancer agent kan, you test in vitro, Then you tak nak test kat animal ke? Bila you nak keluar you punya produk? Alright? Okay. Tak ada apa dah? Ada apa-apa? Hello? Okay. Attendance nanti you masuk balik. Attendance nanti you masuk balik dekat Google Classroom kan? You key in kat situ. Right? Buat saya nak tengah set up dulu. Alright. Okay, bye-bye. I log out lah.
Korang